Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM and AM 630. WMAL.
Well, we spent a lot of the morning talking about the commercials and the halftime performance. Now we're actually going to get into the game. Trevor Matich is here. You see him on Comcast on ESPN. It's a pretty good game last night, huh?
That was fantastic.
A lot of fun.
And you know what? To come down on a Hail Mary that was 12 inches away from being caught for the Patriots win. What a way to end it.
Yeah. To me, there were two. I mean, I know everyone says not one play can make or break a game, but there were two plays to me where the game was won and lost. The Patriots were up 17-15 and had a chance to kind of bury the Giants, and it was third down, and Brady hit Wes Welker on a pass that was a little bit off target, but it was a catchable ball that Wes Welker usually makes, and he dropped it. Then the Giants got the ball back, and Eli Manning hit Mario Manningham on one of the greatest passes and catches you're going to see ever. And to me, that was the difference in the game.
Yeah, you're right about that. And that Wes Welker drop was something that he doesn't do. Nope. He led the league this year in receptions. And so he was the most productive wide receiver in the entire National Football League and drops the most important pass of the year. Now, what happened was that ball typically is supposed to be thrown on the inside of the numbers, but Brady saw the safety coming over from the inside. So instead of throwing it there, he threw it to the outside. And so Welker had to adjust back to the outside. Now, great receivers will tell you that balls are not caught with your hands, they're caught with your feet. If your feet are messed up, it makes it harder to catch it with your hands, and his feet were messed up. Even so, both hands were on it.
He usually makes that catch.
But I'll suggest this, though. The other one was the 12 men on the field penalty.
Oh, yeah, brutal.
Yeah, because keep this in mind, that the Giants have the ball in the first half. They are down after a long drive, about to score, and all of a sudden the ball is ripped out of Victor Cruz's hand, their wide receiver. It's a fumble by the Giants. The Patriots jump on the ball. Not even a field goal attempt. It's a turnover in the red zone. But wait, a flag. 12 men on the field. They get the ball back, and they score a touchdown instead of having no points at all in a game that they won by 4. So I ask you, what is the penalty for 12 men on the field? Is it 5 yards? Well, in this case, it might have been a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the Giants had 3 fumbles, and they didn't lose any of them.
That's right. That ball bounces funny ways. It just bounced to the Giants. But it's sort of a habit for them to have the ball bounce to them when they're playing the Patriots. The Patriots just can't get past the fluky plays when they play the Giants.
Well, let's talk about that weird touchdown that at the end of the game that the Giants made. It's sort of strange that you have a line right into the end zone, and your instinct is to go, of course, but then you don't want to go in this particular case. You don't want to make the touchdown.
That's right. About a minute to go, and the Giants can kick a field goal to go up by 1, or they can score a touchdown. The problem is that Tom Brady would get the ball back, and Tom Brady is one of the greatest
with
in
a minute
NFL
left
history.
on the clock. Yeah,
that's right. And so the two choices were this: either go ahead and score, or stop on the 1 yard line or before the 1 yard line if you're the running back, Ahmad Bradshaw, and take a knee there and run some more time off the clock, and then maybe kick a field goal. And you've got to figure it's probably 98% in the NFL to kick a field goal from that short. It's like a point after touchdown. It's like a PAT. So are your odds better to make that field goal from there, or to stop Tom Brady with a minute to go? And so Eli Manning told his running back, Ahmad Bradshaw, to get down, don't score. The problem? The Patriots defense wanted him to score. They didn't want the Giants to run the clock down before they scored so that Brady would have time. So Bradshaw gets the ball. The Red Sea parts. It's wide open. There's a touchdown in the Super Bowl waiting for him, and he got so excited, and he ran up to the 1 yard line and realized, I'm not supposed to score. And so he tried to stop, but he couldn't, and he kind of tumbled into the. And the funny thing is this: that the official was reluctant to raise his arms. It's like, really, did you just do that? And before the official could raise his arms to signal a touchdown, Patriots defensive lineman Vince Wilfork raised his arm in jubilation that the other team screwed up and scored a touchdown. That's how funny that was.
He looked like he looked like a chubby kid who changed his mind at the end of the diving board.
Yeah, listen, I was
boom, and then he was in.
All right, but all the way down, you're like in terrible panic. Yeah.
But on that point, it drives me nuts, and I don't understand this because you're sitting at home and you understand clock management. I swear I feel like every coach and every quarterback doesn't understand clock management, and the Giants wasted 2 timeouts in the fourth quarter for calling a timeout because they're afraid of a delay of game penalty. Who cares about a delay of game penalty? Just take it. And on that point about the Bradshaw going in the end zone, Eli Manning apparently told him to go down, but Tom Coughlin wanted him to score a touchdown. How are they not on the same page on that issue with 58 seconds left to go in the game with the Super Bowl in the
Yeah, you would think they would have talked about it on the sideline and gotten on the same page. The thing is, though, what that does is obscure an earlier play where there was a pass. I can't remember which receiver it was. It might have been Manningham. Caught a pass to convert a first down on the left. Oh, it was Nix?
Yeah.
Okay. And then he allowed himself to get forced out of bounds instead of dropping to the ground to keep the clock running, or at least force New England to take their last time out. So because of all the excitement with that Ahmad Bradshaw goofy touchdown, we lose the fact that that was poor clock management as well, and that may have been something we look back on as costing the Giants the game. Fortunately, it didn't work out that way if you're a Giants fan.
Let me ask you this. Do you think this is good for the NFL? A 9-7 team wins the Super Bowl, the Giants. This is a team that lost to Rex Grossman twice, lost to Vince Young, lost to Charlie Whitehurst, for crying out loud, during the regular season, and was at 7-7 at one point in the season. It just got hot towards the end in the year.
Wait a minute, my brain is melting. You're saying the Super Bowl champion lost to the Redskins beat them twice this year.
2 times.
That's right. Charlie Whitehurst beat them.
Tom Brady
at home
played the Giants twice this year and lost to them both times. Rex Grossman of the Redskins played the Giants twice this year and beat them both times.
He's the greatest quarterback of modern time.
But what does it say about the NFL? If you're a coach, does it change anything at all about the regular season? And it doesn't really matter what you do in September and October?
There is no sin you could commit in the regular season that is not completely erased by winning the Super Bowl. Look at Eli Manning. Steve Young said, the former 49ers quarterback and now an ESPN analyst, after the game, that this Super Bowl win MVP cemented, or should cement, Eli Manning into the Hall of Fame. Now, he's got a lot of play to go.
Does.
But do keep this in mind. Last year, the Giants didn't make the playoffs. He threw for a lot of yards, but Eli Manning had over 30 turnovers. He was a Rex Grossman-esque turnover year for him, but now he's back on top of the world. So the Giants were 7-7 in November. 7-7. Wow. They go on to win the Super Bowl, and the NFL doesn't care. It's a Cinderella story, or it's a story of domination. Either way, it's a good story.
Trevor, I want to ask you about, and it is fashionable to have this big discussion about the pantheon of great quarterbacks and what this means for Eli versus Tom. What does this mean for the two of them and their legacies?
It doesn't affect Tom's. He's got 3 Super Bowl wins. Right. And I think people realize that he didn't have the best team around him this year and still got them to the Super Bowl. For Eli, I think it quiets a lot of criticism because now he's got 2 Super Bowl wins, 2 Super Bowl MVPs, and in both of those Super Bowls, the team he beat was Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. And so I think from a standpoint of I agree with Steve Young. As long as he doesn't melt down going forward, Eli goes into the Hall of Fame to join his brother.
But the fact that Tom Brady didn't win twice now, does that push him away from the all-time greatest talk? Because Joe Montana was 4-0. Right. There's twice now Brady hasn't got it done.
That's right. And that's what people will say. He's one of the greatest for sure, but I think he wants to be the greatest. And had he gotten that 4th Super Bowl win this year, it'd be hard to say that he was not at least in the top 3, if not the top 1.
Right. Can you stick around and talk a little about what the Redskins could do, and also just a couple of other more questions about the Super Bowl? Right. Trevor Matich is with us here on the morning.
Now on 105.9 FM.
I don't even listen to any other talk radio.
WMAL.
7:51. Trevor Matich is in studio. All right, so the Redskins in the offseason probably have to find a quarterback. There's this guy named Peyton Manning who may be available. Would you, A, go after him, and B, do you think the Redskins would go after him?
I don't know. I'd call Eli and ask him what he thinks at this point. You know what? I would not trade for him, because that would be repeating mistakes of the past by bringing in an older player at the expense of younger players if they trade draft choices. I would not pick up this current contract. That's another problem. But because he apparently is sending signals that he will have a team-friendly contract based on incentives and not just guaranteed money, in that case, I don't see any reason not to bring him in, because he's a guy that at worst could mentor a young quarterback, and it would only cost money. It wouldn't cost draft choices and therefore young players for the future.
He's Peyton Manning.
He is Peyton Manning. But one of the problems, though, his neck surgery apparently has healed well. The fusion in a couple of vertebrae. Right. But apparently there still remains some regeneration of nerves in his neck into his arms that must be squared away before he's able to have the same arm strength. And he hasn't gotten to that point yet. But again, if there's not a lot of guaranteed money there, then there's no risk. And at worst, you get his leadership.
All right. Trev, it was great to have you on this whole year. It's fantastic. Really was wonderful.
Every morning you came in here and gave us some analysis, and I walked away going, man, that's stuff I hadn't thought about. And that's what a good analyst does.
It's very gracious of you to say that, and it's been tremendous fun to be here with y'all.
All right, good.
Maybe somebody should put you on TV,
Yeah, well, I got to get better looking for that.
So the off season now, you're just done. You just check out and lock the doors.
It's the same rhythm as when you were a player. By the time the season's over, you are completely exhausted. I will hibernate for 2 weeks, and then when I wake up, I'll give you a call and let you know. Like I'm going to swallow a whole big giant pig and then sleep like an anaconda.
All right, we'll see you in September. How about that?
All right.